Hello, I'm Brett Knowles from PM2 Consulting. I'm going to take you through a quick presentation about how you can gamify your business. There really are 9 steps that you need to walk through, and I'm going to quickly brief you on each one. So, step 1, we have to capture your existing strategic goals and their priorities. Now, every organization already has these. You may not be aware of them because perhaps it's not documented, or maybe there's confusion on how we should be prioritizing them. But it should be a quick conversation with your leadership team to surface the current strategic goals. And by capturing them, you can begin to link your entire organization back to those overall goals. And if they change, we can understand which things they're linked to and therefore need to change as well. Once you have those goals, the second step is to cascade those down to what are the objectives that we need to achieve. In fact, for most organizations, we want to break those objectives down into what we can do each quarter. That allows you to see progress as time progresses and helps chop out that big, huge strategic goal into manageable bits and pieces. Again, these exist already in your organization, and if you can get people knowledgeable in the room, they can quickly explain what they are. These days, these are also called OKRs, for objectives and key results. By breaking them down, this makes the journey more doable. The next step is for each of those key results, select what are the important indicators of success. And here's what we know. We know that most organizations has a surplus of information, and the trick is to find out which of the few indicators we should choose in order to measure how we're performing. So these indicators should be things you're already collecting, and all we're doing is we're putting them into the context of those strategic objectives. The next step is about accountability or role clarity. How is it individuals can know what part of the strategy they're accountable for? Well, now we've broken it down to objectives and key results. We can attribute those to individuals, whether you're using a role clarity model like RACI or just assigning responsibility. Daniel Pink, in his book, Drive, indicates there are 4 things that organizations need, and individuals need 3 of those to be successful. We need to know what our purpose is. We need to master the skills necessary to achieve those objectives and the autonomy to get it done. So this step allows us to begin that conversation. What's your purpose? What's the training you need? And how can you develop that mastery? From there, we now need to let the organization know what we're up to. This idea of keeping score and gamification needs to be announced to the whole organization through your next all-hands meeting or newsletter. And the idea is to help people understand this isn't linked to compensation. If you think about it, people play online games. They're addicted to them, but never earn $1 for doing so. The idea is those intrinsic rewards are so satisfying to us, we'll do those activities forever. Let's focus on those intrinsic activities and create a buzz around this new employee engagement. Once we've done that, the next step is pretty straightforward. You just have to turn it on. It takes most organizations 3 or 4 games to learn the rules and how to operate best. The only way you're going to learn is by trying to do it. So launch it. Use a simple tool like My Objectives and quickly capture your existing strategy, objectives, key results, and people, and away you go. Now, it's game on. What we want to do is give people ongoing feedback. If you think of playing a game like hockey or soccer, on an ongoing basis, you can look at the scoreboard and see how you're doing. You can see how you're progressing and look at the stats and so on. So we should make this available to everyone so that on an ongoing basis, they can talk to each other about the performance. At the end of every month or the end of every period, if you think of it that way, within a game, we can talk to our managers about how we're performing, what the next steps are, and so forth. And at the end of the game, the end of the quarter, we can take a look at how we did and set things up for the next game. So that obviously links back to this human capital thing of how do we reward people for job well done? Well, part of it is just giving them the visibility and knowing that it's linked to purpose and they're doing the right things. But this completely changes how we do performance reviews. Now I can have more frequent, less formal reviews, and we can celebrate success across the departments to see how we're all contributing to success. And then finally, we need to coach each other. We need to have those conversations like we have in teams about how we've performed. We can learn and adjust our strategy and then try the game again. So this is it. The idea of gamifying your business is based on what we currently have and just linking these things together instead of it being an HR system that's different from the scorekeeping system, that's different than the strategy system, that's different than the rewarding system, different than our performance management system. By joining these things together, we can make the total solution simpler and make it far more effective.